glad I read it because I automatically assumed it was Chad because he's usually on it.
Yep.
So here we go. We're going to let everybody come into the stream for just a second. Get all platforms up and running because you can always catch the Mile High Huddle podcast. There's one every single day of the week, 6 p.m. Mountain on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, X, wherever you like to stream, you can get us. And away we go. Who are we? We are MHI. He is Thomas Hall. I'm Luke Patterson. And we take you through it every Wednesday night here at 6 p.m. Mountain. Mile High Insiders OTA edition. Our good friend Scott Kennedy on the ones and twos. Tom, if you'd like to reach out to Tom, that's at Thomas Hall NFL. Yours truly at Luke Patterson LP. Don't forget to head on over to the mothership at Mile High Huddle, where we're going to ask an important question. Is the Broncos running back room in trouble? Because last we checked, everybody was excited about the new start, the new RJ Harvey Quadzilla. Well, the Broncos could be courting another free agent running back, rather. He's having dinner in the Mile High City tonight. He's going to be out there at HQ tomorrow. Who is he? We're going to let you know. But before we do, what is up, Thomas Hall? How are we doing on this Wednesday, June 4th, deep into the OTA/off season?
Doing well. I'm looking forward to hearing more reports out of OTAs and looking forward to training camp because that's just around the corner as well. We are almost officially in summer. Only another week or two, and we're officially in summer. So this is my time of year. I love summer.
Yeah, it's wild, right? Because right now it's graduations, wedding season, continuations, birthdays, right? All sorts of those things. And that usually means we're on pace for football coming back. We're on the cusp. NBA finals, they're just about a wrap, can I say? A few weeks. The basketball is going to be over. Baseball here in Colorado is historically bad, Tom, as Rockies fans know. So Broncos country's ready. All right. The Nuggets been bounced. The Avs have been bounced. It's all hands on deck and all eyes looking towards your favorite Denver Broncos. And let's say what's up to our friends and family in the chat here. David Yonkin with a generous $4.99 kicking us off this evening here on MHI. Let's just be real. Just because they bring him in doesn't mean he is getting signed. Who is he? Well, David Yonkin, our friend, is reacting to the report by Tom Pelissero. Former Chargers starting running back J.K. Dobbins is headed to Denver tonight to have dinner with coaches and visit the Broncos facility on Thursday. Per source, the dynamic Dobbins, who had 1,084 yards from scrimmage and 9 touchdowns in 2024, now could land with an AFC West contender. Tom, I've got 2 questions for you. 1, J.K. Dobbins, what does he bring to the Denver Broncos, if anything? And 2, the Denver Broncos, an AFC West contender? Did I read that right?
Yes, you did. The first question, AFC West contender, is true. I actually am projecting them to give the Chiefs a run for their money for that division title. But what does Dobbins bring? Well, he's an experienced running back who will help fill out a room of a lot of inexperience. He's also a dynamic runner. Unfortunately, he brings an injury history that I can't look past. He's missed a full season, most of another season, half of another season, and then was gone 4 games last year. So now I know that everybody keeps talking about Bo Lowry and all the magic he works, but if you keep bringing in injury-prone players, you're going to have a team that gets more injured. That's just the way it is. So it's on one hand, I like it. On the other hand, I'm just kind of so-so on it.
Yeah, I'm intrigued by it. And Mike Thompson's saying, bring it on. Bring on J.K. Dobbins. That's some Fred Durst. Bring it on. No, it's one of these things for me, man, where I start asking questions because I'm intrigued. And this is a position that we've been talking about, Broncos country, the NFL. Everybody knows Denver's running back room needs to get better. Have they gotten better overnight? Maybe with just drafting RJ Harvey, letting Javonte Williams walk. Maybe Audric Estime, Jaleel McLaughlin, RJ Harvey. They're the 3-headed running back monster that Denver needs. I don't know. But now I have questions about the personnel. Is Audric Estime, what is his role on this team? Why does Sean Payton feel the need to kick the tires on the J.K. Dobbins? Is he concerned about injuries within his own stable, about size? Remember, J.K. Dobbins isn't a big back either, sitting at 5'10", 215, but he's thick, looks a whole lot different than Jaleel McLaughlin. I'm intrigued. I think it's very interesting that Sean Payton is willing to make that running back room get better, at least take a look at it. Am I surprised? Right. Not really. I just don't know what this means for Audric Estime. Does Sean Payton know something about Audric Estime that we don't, for better or worse? Because if he gets up there and he talks about all these running backs and all his guys that he loves so damn much, well, if he loves them so damn much, why are they whining and dining injured J.K. Dobbins coming back from a couple injuries in his career with Baltimore and L.A.?
Yeah, I mean, you have to kick the tires on it. You've got an inexperienced room and nobody that's a proven three. I mean, I think RJ Harvey's probably a 3-down back based on what, he did in college, but Dobbins really is. He's a dynamic runner when he's healthy, and he provides that 3-down option. So, he can be in at every down, and, it's a nice veteran player. You can come in to help, bring up these other guys, hopefully, but you're right. At the same time, they're kicking the tires on him. Is it just they're just wanting to kick the tires on him, or does it mean something else about their running back room that they're a little nervous about, which they should be? I mean, I know they're saying, oh, yeah, we're happy with all our position groups, yada, yada, yada. But I think they need to be a little bit more concerned about the running back room because they really don't have anybody proven.
Well, and especially with injury history and illness, right? These are things that we have to consider moving into the season. And look, just because guys are healthy now doesn't mean they're going to be healthy later. And we're seeing injuries happen during OTAs, for crying out loud, coming across the NFL wire. So this is something that I think is responsible and smart. I think it would be easy for people to say, oh, Sean Payton's panicking about the rookie. Maybe he doesn't like it, or maybe Audric Estime's still in the doghouse. Maybe those things are true. I don't think Sean is panicking. If he had panicked, I think he would have overspent on this running back before the draft or even immediately after. I think Sean's trying to execute some patience. Again, he's his own worst enemy, gets in his own way the most out of anybody else in the league. So maybe Sean is just executing some patience, just like our guy Gene William has been executing some patience over on Facebook, checking in here on MHI with some generous stars. Thank you, Gene. Luke and Tom, hopefully we sign J.K. Dobbins, make the others work harder. I think it's a scare tactic for Audric Estime. Wow, Gene. Gene knows what Sean Payton likes to pull, and Sean likes to pull no punches, so to speak. If he's not happy with a guy, he's going to let him know, or at least put him on notice. With J.K. Dobbins signing with the Denver Broncos, perhaps tomorrow, by this weekend, would that put Audric Estime on notice?
Well, I almost think it puts McLaughlin on notice because he's more of a kind of change. He could be a change of pace guy. He could be the full load guy. It's somebody that could come in on third downs. He's a dynamic runner. He could do everything. It's putting one of either of those on notice, probably McLaughlin or Estime. Estime is a bit of a different runner, more of a, kind of a workhorse heavy, a lot of carries type back, which to me is not conducive to what Sean Payton wants to do. He doesn't want to feed a running back 25, 30 carries a game. He wants to pass the ball, spread it around, have a few running backs that can bust it open. But Estime he definitely is on thin ice. I'll say that.
Yeah, the Broncos are whining and dining J.K. Dobbins tonight in Denver. I don't know. Stay tuned if you're at one of those nice steakhouses downtown, right? I mean, remember, it wasn't that long ago we were all making fun of Vic Fangio for eating a cheeseburger at Elway Steakhouse instead of a steak. Those kinds of things happen during the OTAs and this, this part of the season, if you will. We appreciate everybody rocking with us as we continue on the super chats. Appreciate you guys so much. Facebook stars helps a lot. Here's a friend, Ralph Bracegirdle. What is up, Ralph? Love the Mark Schlereth stink jersey. I'm assuming that's a 69 Mark Schlereth. It's truly the only number and player that can rep that orange. Luke Patterson and Thomas Hall. Me and Gene William got our tickets for the Giants versus the Broncos game. We are ready to have a Super Bowl run. Well, I'm ready to have a cold pop with you, Ralph. We've been talking about it way too long. We're going to see if we can make that happen for the Giants game, man. It's going to be a lot of fun. Looking forward to seeing all the fellas and the gals at the MHH meet and greet this year as well. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it too. Hopefully I can make it this year. Last year I couldn't, but I'm hoping this year is the year.
Yeah, this year could be the year, guys. And speaking of this year, it's officially summer. Summer is here at DraftKings Casino. New offers and promos are sprouting up daily. Right now, new players can play $5 on anything and get 350 casino spins instantly on a featured slot game. Download the app and sign up with the code MileHighPod. Take the featured slot for a spin and explore thousands of others in the DraftKings game library.
That's right. Check back daily to claim the hottest offers and promos on DraftKings Casino. And don't forget our code MileHighPod. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling at 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. 21 plus, physically present in Michigan, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, West Virginia only, void in Connecticut and Ontario. Eligibility restrictions apply. New customers only. Non-withdrawable casino spins valid for a featured game only and expire in 168 hours. See terms at casino.draftkings.com/promos. Ends June 15th, 2025 at 11:59 p.m. Eastern Time.
Boom. He is Thomas Hall. I'm Luke Patterson. Scott Kennedy with us as well. This is MHI, where we are reacting to the news, the report rather, from Tom Pelissero, the former Chargers starting running back J.K. Dobbins. He's in Denver tonight having dinner with Broncos coaches. He's going to visit Broncos HQ tomorrow on Thursday. Now, this is the part that gets me from Tom Pelissero, right? The dynamic Dobbins, who had 1,084 yards from scrimmage and 9 touchdowns in 2024, now could land with an AFC West contender. Broncos country, how are we feeling about J.K. Dobbins? Would you sign him? Would you let him walk? Do you kick the can down the road? Or are you good with RJ Harvey, Jaleel McLaughlin, Audric Estime, Tyler Bidet, and a host of other undrafted running backs who are going to be in camp? Let us know in the chat line. We really appreciate everybody's support. Just like David again, man, coming in. We really appreciate it, David. Every single week you show up and show out for us here on MHI. If JK gets signed, that puts all of the Broncos running backs on notice, except for Quadzilla. RJ Harvey, man, Quadzilla. He's the safe back in the room right now. I'm going to disagree with you on the Jaleel McLaughlin. I asked Tom the question just a couple minutes ago. If J.K. Dobbins is signed, is Audric Estime on notice? And Tom danced around the subject like he usually does, very tactfully. But he actually said, if anything, maybe Jaleel McLaughlin. It speaks to him and some of the size issues. I wish you were right. I want to agree with you, Tom, but Sean Payton has a thing for little guys on his team. He does. He likes these little speedy gadget guys. Can't help himself. Marvin Mims, Jaleel McLaughlin. He wants to get as many of them as he can. I don't know what it means. Maybe this is a move or a report in which we see J.K. Dobbins come and go, or maybe he comes out for camp for a little bit and then eventually gets back on the one. I don't know. I think it's interesting because he's a veteran. The thing that confuses me a little bit and does make me wonder and hesitate, how interested could Sean Payton be in this type of a back? J.K. Dobbins doesn't catch the ball out of the backfield a whole lot. At least that's what I was reading over milehighhuddle.com. Nick Kendall's got an article up right now. And that is something that Sean Payton demands out of his running backs, that they're not only runners between the tackles, but he alludes to them as the Joker, right? All the time. Or good Lord, I just couldn't help myself. Had to use that J word, Scott. I'm interested. I'm curious. I don't know how he fits.
Well, they're going to have to make up their mind pretty soon whether they want to sign him or not, because once training camp starts, I think it's the deadline's July 22nd, something like that. Then Chargers have exclusive rights. So they've got to make up their mind. They can't kick the can down the road too long because they put that unrestricted free agent tender or whatever you call it. It's not used very often.
Right.
Which would also affect the compensatory pick formula for the Broncos. So they're projected to have 2 7th-rounders right now. If they sign him, it might kick that one of those out. So I know it's a 7th-rounder. I think J.K. Dobbins is probably more valuable than a hopeful 7th-rounder down the road. But there's a few things that you got to consider when signing him besides just what he can bring on the field.
All these Ohio State guys, man. These Ohio State guys making their way around the league. 73 career catches for J.K. Dobbins. Alvin Kamara had more than 80 4 years in a row for Sean Payton. That's Scott kind of piggybacking onto the point. Yeah, Sean, he demands a lot out of these running backs with the injury history. I think he's willing to give guys second and third chances. Again, a lot of these NFL coaches want to be the guy to resurrect somebody, whether it's health, whether it's philosophy, whatever the position is. They want to be able to say, I told you so because I found value in a lesser player or prospect or what have you. I'm curious, again, 5'10", 215 pounds. I also wonder if you don't like J.K. Dobbins and you do want to consider the running back position, who's left out there as I'm currently pulling up the list? I mean,
not many. Kareem Hunt, I think. Kareem Hunt, maybe, who major injury history.
Nick Chubb?
Nick Chubb. That's who it is. Nick Chubb. Yeah. He's Nick
Chubb probably caught. What's the Nick Chubb? So Nick Chubb is, let's see here, 29 years old. J.K. Dobbins is 26. Both have injury history. I would argue one has much more than the other. Or I don't know. Is that up for a debate when you look at injury history between Nick Chubb and J.K. Dobbins? Who would you rather have, Broncos country? I mean, that's kind of interesting as you look at that.
Well, I would take J.K. Dobbins younger, even with the injury history, but he's not going to cost much. I don't think his salary, probably get a 1-year deal, won't cost very much. It's kind of worth taking the chance if you could get something out of him. As long as you're not, and obviously they're not happy with their room. Like you said, RJ Harvey is the only one that's probably safe. The rest of them are expendable if he's going to be able to step in and play at a decent level. If he stays healthy, that's a huge win for the Broncos.
Yeah, listen, J.K. Dobbins rushed for a career high, 905 yards and season high 9 touchdowns in 13 games. So why don't the Chargers, why don't they want him back? If he's so damn good, then why doesn't Harbaugh want to keep him? I don't know. He did miss those 4 games, like you mentioned, due to a knee injury. Various other injuries have plagued him throughout his career. You mentioned it, I think, at the top of the show. This guy hasn't played more than 11 games in a season. That's an issue, but how big of an issue is it if he's going to be your third or fourth option? Maybe this is a guy that you almost used as like a bench player in the NBA, right? Or in basketball a little bit. Maybe you keep him off to the side a little bit. You're not saving him per se, but he's not going to go to the practice squad. You're not going to see him getting beat up by the first string defense. Maybe this is the type of running back, a veteran that can assist Bo Nix, that can assist the rookie RJ Harvey and a young running back room. And maybe this is a guy who can assimilate and gel with a veteran offensive line.
Yeah. And well, like we said, it's inexperienced. So bringing him in would be helpful in that regard. Plus, like you said, if he can come in and be a spot player. So that's going to hopefully reduce that injury risk instead of having him carry that load. I still think it's RJ Harvey's job to lose. I think they brought him in. They love him. I think they want him to be the guy. And if he falters in training camp or starts fumbling, they're going to be able to go to J.K. Dobbins if they sign him. And that's what we don't know yet. They're bringing him in, talking to him. That doesn't mean he's going to get a contract. But if they do sign him, I think that, he's insurance policy behind Harvey if Harvey struggles as a rookie.
I want him to sign J.K. Dobbins just so that way the Broncos can have 2 running backs where their first name is 2 letters. Right, so you could have J.K. and you can have R.J. J.K. Jacalyn Dobbins, born December 17th, 1998. I think that's how you pronounce it for J.K. Dobbins, Jacalyn. I think I even saw one of those like social media videos on Facebook a while back where it was some young lady calling NFL players by their birth name, right, or whatever's on their birth certificate. J.K. might have been one of them. And so he's walking out talking with the fellas, and it's just like, "Hello, Jacalyn." And he's kind of like thrown off for a second, like, wait a second, nobody calls me that, right? Like, that's same with me, man. I go by Luke, but my first name's Lucas. So if somebody's like, "Hello, Lucas," that I didn't know, I'd be like, huh, that one struck me off guard. RJ Harvey, I don't know what the J is for. Robert. I know Robert's first name. Broncos country, help me out. What is the J for in RJ Harvey? Because that would make our lives a whole lot easier as writers. If we could get J.K. Dobbins here and I could just talk about J.K. and R.J., that'll help me with my word count. Chad won't be mad at me for going over the word limit every week. Just make things easy for me, Sean.
Yeah, exactly. We want to be able to write less.
Let's see here. Robert RJ Harvey Jr. Okay, the J is for Junior coming out of Scott, man. Cool. I'm here for it, man. I look. I think J.K. Dobbins brings some veteran experience in that room. Let's talk about Audric Estime. Not a rookie, but not a veteran either. I mean, how much NFL action has that guy really even seen? We can get into it if you like. Jaleel McLaughlin hasn't really taken over. He's had good games. He's definitely been a contributor on that offense that's on the rise with one Bo Nix and Sean Payton. But can you count on his small frame to be there in December, to be there in January, in the cold drums of Kansas City? I mean, that's what we're talking about here. I think I would go RJ Harvey and J.K. Dobbins over an Audric Estime and Jaleel McLaughlin. If we're just talking about running backs, that does sound pretty good, especially with playoff football.
And if you can have a couple running backs to carry the load, if you could bring in J.K. Dobbins and you can trust R.J. Harvey and Dobbins to, get those bulk of the carries, then you've got something with McLaughlin coming in off of the bench, in different spots to try and create something, get him in space. He's not going to be the workhorse. So you actually have something. Like last year, they were just looking for anybody to take the ball and actually do something with it, get some yardage. And that's why Bidet was called up after his injury. They were looking for something in the running game that they just didn't have. So hopefully they can bring in two players who can make something happen and then have that Jaleel McLaughlin come in different situations and hopefully create a mismatch.
I'm still getting over my emotional scars and my public beef with Melvin Gordon, right? The last time the Broncos signed a Chargers running back, we all know how that went. This is different, right? He's not like a tenured Charger. He's one spot over there in LA. He's a Raven. All right, come on over. Nevermore. No, man, it's interesting. And David asking, is JK a good blocking back? He damn well it better be if he's going to come here to Denver, because he's going to be asked to catch the football and block for Bo Nix. You've been in the league longer than any of the other running backs, right, on the Broncos roster or close to. You're the veteran guy. You should be able to pick up a blitz. You should be able to know what you're looking at when there's film study. Those expectations are going to be there. I don't know. I can't remember, David, if I'm going to be completely honest. I'm not going to just make up an analysis and be like, well, he's okay. He could use another kick or post step, in shotgun. No, I don't know. I hope he can get in the way. He's 5'10", 215 pounds. He's a chunk. I mean, protect Bo Nix at all costs.
Yeah. From what I understand, he's a pretty solid blocking back. That's why they're looking at him. He can be in there on all three downs, and you know that it's not necessarily going to be a run when he's in there on third down. So I think he's adequate. He may not be the best there is, but from what I understand, he's solid in that area. So you can count on him. That's the thing. You can't really count on McLaughlin so much to be in there on when he has to pass block.
Let's open it up to Broncos country. Dobbins could be a huge addition, a great 1-2 punch. Plus his workload won't be as bad, so he should stay healthy. Other folks are saying, give me Nick Chubb, according to Lawrence Muck. So Broncos country weighing in Nick Chubb versus J.K. Dobbins. We're reacting to the report from Tom Pelissero. J.K. Dobbins, he's in Denver right now. He's getting wined and dined. Broncos are interviewing him. He's hoping to get a job with them. It's a interesting dynamic here in the Mile High City. And then you see Mike Thompson. Nick Chubb is washed. And then he's coming in double. You knew I was going to pull this up, Mike. Melvin Gordon gets deserved hate, but over 2,000 yards from scrimmage and 20 touchdowns in 2 seasons wasn't as bad as people remember. Let's not forget that DUI, all because of his fear of Philip Lindsay in the summer. People don't forget.
And all of his fumbles. Don't forget his fumbles. That was the killer. Yeah, he was a productive back, but man, he cost the Broncos plenty of times with those fumbles. That's what I remember the most, especially that one where he fumbles it, and I can't remember, one Chief takes it all the way to the end zone the other way. So I don't forgive him for that. I mean, he was productive, but the fumbles are something you can't forgive as a running back. 1 or 2 here and there, maybe, but not that many.
No, Melvin Gordon was a hack. All right. He was a hack. Let's just say it. And he was a punk. We all remember him acting like a punk with Jerry Jeudy too. And he was a poison on that team. So Yeah, Ralph Bracegirdle coming back in over Facebook. What's up, Ralph? Thanks again, man. Really appreciate you. All those stars really help out. J.K. Dobbins, just to insult the Chargers and Uncle Jim. I don't think Uncle Jim would care because he's ready to just kick him to the curb, I guess. I don't know that there's a huge advantage in getting a former Charger over and figuring out what that looks like. I was trying to remember, and I'm sure Broncos country, we could all go back into the time machine and look at some film and some stats. How effective was J.K. Dobbins against Vance Joseph's defense? Do you remember? Does anything ring a bell in those two games? Because I remember Matlock, right? I remember Matlock on Thursday Night Football and ruining Vance Joseph's defense and that sort of thing. But J.K. Dobbins had a very productive season last year. Again, hasn't played over 11 games ever in his career. So he's surging at the right time, I suppose, if the Broncos were to give him a look. But I don't know how big of a punch to the gut it would be to LA.
Well, and remember, they drafted, I think they drafted Mario Hampton, and I think they signed like Najee Harris or something. So I think he's the odd man out. So that's why they're not really worried about re-signing. But they also put that tender on him, so they do have that option. You know, they've got the ability to negotiate. So they're not giving up on him totally. They're probably letting him to see what's going on in the market and whether or not he prices himself out of that running back room in LA. But the other thing too is I think he played fairly well against he only played one game against the Broncos last season, if I remember correctly. And he didn't play too bad. It wasn't, he didn't destroy them on the ground or anything, but I think he had a decent game against the Broncos.
Okay. Again, something, right? Not a surprise with Vance Joseph's run defense, but we're trying to improve that. We're trying to turn over a new leaf. That guy's like a bad penny, Vance Joseph, man. You just can't get rid of that guy. And, I'm not trying to run him out of town, calm down, but I'm also not, clamoring for any extensions for Vance Joseph either. I don't know. It's not a love-hate thing because I don't have any beef with Vance Joseph. It's still just I'm scratching my head thing. Like, Sean, I'm not so sure, but okay. The proof is in the pudding. You reset the franchise sack records. You get the reigning NFL Defensive Player of the Year. And speaking of that, Tom, I gotta go after somebody real quick here. It's my show, and that's what I like to do. I like to attack others here on MHI. That's what I'm going to do. I got a problem with PFF. I got a big problem with PFF, Tom. I know you've had problems with them for years. I love them when they're giving our guys deserved credit, and I can't stand them when they get after our guys. And Eric Trickle has an article up at milehighhuddle.com right now. Broncos Pat Surtain, corner CB1. Great pictures with him and Champ Bailey out there at Alumni Weekend the other day. Reigning Defensive Player of the Year. Well, he's not good enough for Pro Football Focus. Apparently, he is not ranked the number one corner, Tom. I don't know if you saw this. Sauce Gardner is apparently significantly better than Pat Surtain. Someone call the press.
Yeah, I was a little taken aback by that because if it's somebody's opinion based on watching film, then I don't trust their opinion on evaluating players. And if it's an analytical thing, I don't trust their analytics. So either way, I don't trust anything that they're saying if they're putting the best defensive player, not just the best cornerback, but the best defensive player from last year as number two versus a guy that he struggled last year. He may have had a good year his first year with getting away with holding, but he's definitely not better than Pat Surtain. So that's my problem with it is it just for fun? They're trying to create some buzz. Well, that's my third problem with it. They're just making stuff up to try and get people to talk about it. So either way, I have a problem with their ability to analyze somebody appropriately.
I think that's fair. And you've always been consistent. I have too with PFF. It's a nice resource when looking at some things. It's not everything. I know some guys and gals are super brand loyal, and there's nothing wrong with that once you find something, but there's a lot of resources out there in today's day and age in 2025. That's what's really exciting about some different things. You don't have to just subscribe to one group of people. I didn't think it made any damn sense, if I'm going to be honest, and I think it makes PFF look like absolute fools. Clickbait article, yeah, that could be it. There's some of that in this business. Let's not lie. Let's not tell any tales out of school. There's some of that there, but it's generally those type of articles, shows, sound bites, Facebook reels, media, whatever you want to say. they don't last. It's hot, it's sensational, and people have a pretty high BS meter in this world, and people don't like to be BS that much. And it bothered me. I think that it was so ridiculous. There's no way it could have bothered Pat Surtain. I don't know if he responded to it. I don't know why the hell he would. I mean, he's a king in his own right, in his own level. And how about that for just a second, Tom? I was pretty like smiling, grin to ear to ear, seeing Champ Bailey come back to HQ, and then to see Champ Bailey and Pat Surtain hugging, to see Champ with Riley Moss, and how about, new guy Rook out there too. I mean, it's really, really fun to see the old and the new, Barron and Bailey, Barron or Surtain and Bailey. I mean, that's good stuff. I'm here for all of it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Champ Bailey, one of the best cornerbacks, definitely had the best cornerback season of all time, maybe best two consecutive cornerback seasons of all time. And the Broncos have been blessed with incredible cornerbacks in their history. So, Champ Bailey, obviously, Louis Wright, Pat Surtain, few others that are thrown in there. You got Chris Harris Jr. So they've been blessed with some good corners and some excellent safeties. So when you get to see those guys coming back in from the olden days, not really that old, but coming back in and hanging out, it's pretty cool. So, and the nice thing too is pretty soon there might be someone you can go to have some grades that are more accurate. So Gridiron Intelligence coming up.
Boom, I love it. I had to tell people to take a peek behind the curtain. I have to push Tom because he's a very humble, patient man. And I'm like, dude, you gotta plug Gridiron, man. This thing is going to be huge. Broncos country, stay tuned. We'll be using it through the course of this season to bring you some fascinating content. We're going to be able to break down circumstances in real time, not just statistics, not just film. It's going to be really, really special. Chase Wellner. Chase, I've been thinking about you, man, because I keep seeing all these new Happy Gilmore 2 on Netflix. The release date is this date. Eminem is apparently in it now. I don't know how Marshall Mathers wiggled his way into Netflix. I just hope he's not a crybaby during this movie, right? I mean, I'm a younger guy, Tom, but I'm old enough to remember when Marshall Mathers was cool, when he used to be a guy named Slim Shady. All right. I don't know what happened to Slim Shady. I know there's that album, The Death of Slim Shady, whatever. That dude was funny. I liked listening to him. The new guy, he's always crying. He's always whining. I don't know. I hope he doesn't ruin Happy Gilmore 2. But Chase Wellner weighing in. Don't forget what PFF did to Pat starting last year either. You have to remind me, Chase, what they do. They just don't have any love for our guy Pat Surtain.
They had him as like after a couple of games, they had him like the 41st ranked corner in the league or something. It was like so ridiculous that they had to go change it because it was ridiculous. It wasn't adding up. It was crazy weird to see that happening. So that's the way I remember it. Maybe I'm wrong, but he wasn't even the top starter. He was like backup, not even the top backup or second cornerback, according to them, for the first couple of weeks of the season.
Yeah, John Costco wrote this article from PFF. Eric Trickle over at milehighhuddle.com has an article up right now just previewing and breaking down John Costco from PFF, his disrespect of Pat Surtain and the Denver Broncos. And Eric was right to do so because this John Costco guy, he's a former Kansas City chief safety. All right, right? I mean, does that start to play into this a little bit? Some of the disrespect from the Broncos, or towards the Broncos rather. I don't know. It's not the end of the world, man, but it's just kind of interesting. And we always kind of scoff and laugh at like the rankings and the lists and stuff like that. Sauce Gardner, don't get me wrong, a top NFL cornerback, but the games are just completely different when it comes to Pat Surtain. I can't wait to see what new guy looks like. Barron, right? Let's see what this kid looks like from Texas, man. How NFL ready is he? Well, Broncos country is going to be able to find out in training camp, right? I mean, you don't have to slice up little bits of YouTube or anything like that. It's going to be open to the public. It's going to be interesting this year, Tom, with the construction that's been going on out there at Broncos HQ to see what the fan experience will be this year. Maybe a little different. Eventually, it's going to be awesome because, the Walton Penner ownership group has been sinking in tons of money, tons of effort, and tons of time into it. But Broncos country will know. The eye test will tell whether or not Barron was a first-round corner really, really quick come training camp.
Yeah, and I'm looking forward to it. I'm going to try and get out there for a couple days in training camp. I'm going to try. I don't know if I can, but I'm really going to give it a shot. I want to. It was so much fun going out there when we were out there for a few years together. That was a blast. So I'm hoping to get back out there for sure.
Hell yeah. Bring your your suntan lotion, your hat, sunglasses, sunscreen, everything, man, and come enjoy a day. It's cool, man. My favorite part of training camp is to see kids there, because that's what it's about, man. It's summer. They're out of school. They're just so excited to see some of their favorite players, their heroes, if you will. That's exciting, man. I think it takes us all back to that time. We could all remember when we started to fall in love with sports or a hobby or a specific moment. Maybe you were with a friend, maybe you were with your family. It's cool to see those traditions too, Tom. Every year we've been talking to Broncos country, and we meet you guys, we hang out with you guys. And it's a lot of fun to see families come together and talk about their tradition. We're out here every year. We've been season ticket holders since 27 years. Or the other people that are, hey, we're on the waiting list, or we can't afford tickets. This is the best thing that we can do. Come see our guys and support them in the summer. Get autographs from them. Have a blast with Miles, the mascot, the Broncos cheerleaders. Alumni are always floating around, Tom, as you know. You never know who you're going to bump into at Broncos training camp.
That's right. I mean, yeah, you run into anybody pretty much. I actually got a chance to go out there for a USAA event. It was pretty much closed to the public, but luckily I was able to get in, and I got to talk to Rod Smith for about 25, 30 minutes and got him to sign a baseball cap, which I may be giving away as a giveaway for Gridiron Intelligence. But yeah, it was fun, and you never know who you're going to run into, and you learn a lot from these folks as well. I mean, they got a lot of knowledge of the game and a lot of stuff that happens behind the scenes that we don't get to really be privy to.
The Rod father, that's awesome, man. Rod Smith. I've gotten to meet Rod before too. Super humble off the field too, man. Yeah. I mean, he's just like he was on the field, just a gentleman. He's very intense. He's an intense guy, man. Rod, I think that's just kind of how he is, but always really, really enjoy chopping it up with Broncos country out at training camp. Broncos country, we're reacting to the news. What do you think? J.K. Dobbins, will he become a Denver Bronco? Will you be a fan of the move, or should the Broncos move along? Maybe keep on kicking the can down the road, entertain a running back like Nick Chubb. Broncos are whining and dining J.K. Dobbins tonight here in Denver, and then they'll take him over to HQ tomorrow. I'm sure he'll get a good look around. Who knows if he'll be taking a physical prior to a contract, or how that, I don't know what the timing is going to suggest. Would you guess if they were going to sign J.K. Dobbins, it would be shortly after or around tomorrow, or does this thing extend to the weekend? What do you expect the timeline to be for a veteran running back who hasn't played more than 11 games that could be entering a room with a rookie second rounder named Quadzilla and a bunch of other little fellas and underperforming vets?
Well, they can't kick the can too far down the road. Like I said, there is a deadline where they really have to have him signed. But my guess is they want to get him. If they want him, they want to get him in here for the mandatory minicamp, most likely. Get him in, get him acclimated to the playbook, things like that. If it goes through the weekend and he's not signed, I would say it's a low chance, maybe based on some of the stuff that they talked about. But from my opinion, the Broncos have opened up this window of opportunity. They found their franchise quarterback on a rookie contract. They've got a good young team, a lot of young players who are the future. They need to fill in some of these spots with some vets. And J.K. Dobbins might be that guy that they can fill in a running back room that's not proven and help that spot out a little bit. So for me, I think that I actually am leaning towards them actually doing it, unless his knee isn't healed up, or his injury's not quite there. Maybe they're going to have to wait on that. But I think they're leaning towards doing it just for that reason. They know they need to bring in some of these folks who can kind of take the team to the next level.
Well, and speaking of the next level, let's pivot just a little bit and talk about the defense. And speaking of injuries, Tom, what do you make, or what do you know about Alex Singleton and his ACL rehab? It sounds like everything's on the up and up. over there at Broncos HQ. It sounds like Alex Singleton is so humbled and grateful to be back, to come back from such a nasty ACL that happened, week 2, week 3? I mean, we might have been there. Was it the Steeler game, Scott? I don't know. I don't remember. It was very early on that Alex Singleton went down. Maybe it was the next week against the Tampa Bay Bucks. But remember when that happened? We were all thinking, dude, the tackling machine, what's going to happen now? I mean, I forgot about Alex Singleton's injury a lot this last offseason. And that's good news. You know why? It means things are according to plan. No news is good news in the offseason. He's been rehabbing. What do you expect from Alex Singleton coming back in 2025?
Well, I think he's going to be fighting for his job a little bit because, he's an older player who's coming back from a knee injury. Nothing's proven. And they've got Drew Sanders. They've got Drake Greenlaw. They got another young guy in Lavelle Bailey. I don't think Alex Singleton's I don't think it's his job. Just they're going to give it to him. He's going to have to go compete and prove that knee is healed and he can go out there and play like he was before. Because I think that they're ready to kind of get younger and get more dynamic, more impactful at that linebacker position. And that's why they brought Drake Greenlaw in. That's why they're hoping some of these young linebackers can step up who have a bit of a better impact in the passing game. So he's going to have to prove that his knee is healed from day one in training camp.
If there was anybody to come back and have to reprove himself all over again, I'll say this: it's Alex Singleton, right? Just when we all write him off, just like the NFL wrote him off as an undrafted free agent back in, when was that? 2015, 2016, was drafted in the Canadian Football League, had to prove himself there. We know the Singleton story, if you will. Seems like a really good dude off the field, does a lot of stuff with Special Olympics here in Colorado and around the nation and with his family, which is absolutely awesome. So yeah, if there's anything that's anybody that was going to come back with the cards stacked against them, it's this man and Alex Singleton. And he's beloved by his teammates in the locker room. Poking around a little bit, I ask, who are the guys? And that's just, a peek behind the curtain. When I'm talking to people in the know, I ask, who are the guys the teammates love and who are the guys the teammates hate? Because those tell a lot of the stories. Alex Singleton's name always comes up in top locker room guys. And speaking of top guys, and he's one of our top guys on this show, on every Mile High Huddle podcast. He's our friend. He's our family. David Papa Bear, we are thinking of you. $5 super over on YouTube. Thank you for joining MHI, man. We've been praying for you and thinking of you. David says, good evening, Broncos country. Thank you for the continued prayers. So far, negative results. Hashtag 13-4. David, let us know and let Broncos country know what you need from MHI and from Mile High Huddle, because we have your back. Reach out to us privately, reach out to us publicly, whatever we got to do. We're in this fight with you, David. Thoughts and prayers, brother.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you, David, for being here. And again, we're thinking of you and hoping for the best.
13-4, man. Talk about talk about optimism. And that's my guy. That's my guy, David. And do not lose that optimism, David, because we need it now more than ever. 13-4. Holy cow. 13-4. David, that makes me think of the news of the day from Tom Pelissero, right? He's talking about J.K. Dobbins is getting lined to 9, whatever. In that same tweet, Tom Pelissero says, the dynamic Dobbins, who had 1,084 yards from scrimmage and 9 touchdowns, now could land with an AFC West contender. 13-4, that's not AFC West contention. That's, you're the king of the hill and have the best record in the NFL. Tom, what say you?
That's what I was going to say. 13 wins probably gets you home field advantage throughout the playoffs. I mean, AFC is a competitive conference, and a lot of these divisions, you look at AFC North, they're beating each other up. AFC West's beating each other up. I mean, 13-4, that's probably your probably home field advantage in the playoffs.
So the last time, I had to look this up, and I think this is AI, so if it's wrong, somebody tell me and we'll get it corrected, and Scott will make sure it's right. The last time an NFL team posted 13 regular season wins, Tom, any guess? I know you like trivia.
The last time any NFL team?
Or the last time a team posted 13 regular season wins. Which team was it and what year?
It wasn't it the Chiefs like 2 years ago? Weren't they 14 wins?
Close. I thought it was 2019, the San Francisco 49ers with 13-3. More the Chiefs at 12 wins, I think, that season.
Gotcha.
But 13 wins and nothing to show for it. In San Francisco, ask Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch. They'll tell you all about it. What's the shelf like out there in San Francisco for those guys? This is a conversation my dad and I usually have because I was a big Kyle Shanahan guy, right? I wanted Kyle here instead of Vance Joseph. All those years ago during Vance's first stint as Broncos head coach. So always keep an eye on Kyle, right? I root for the Niners a little bit here and there in the Shanahan tree, but John Lynch, of course, and the Broncos connection and what he means to folks here in Denver. What's the trajectory of the San Francisco 49ers? What's life look like in San Fran with Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch?
They better hope Brock Purdy is the guy, because they gave him a big deal, and they better hope that he's actually the guy that they think he is, because if they don't, that's that right there is if Brock Purdy gets that money and ends up stinking it up, John Lynch not going to be around long, and neither is Kyle Shanahan.
And speaking of stinking it up, AI stinking it up. Scott, let me know. The Buffalo Bills were 13-4 last year. So there you go, 13 win, man, and that was a crazy season from Buffalo, looking at it, right? And I guess congrats to Josh Allen, right, who just got married. I did go see his wife's movie, Sinners. I thought it'd be a lot better, man. I mean, movies just aren't – they're just not what they used to be. It was such a cool plot, too, because we both like sci-fi, right? I think all of us, Scott too, we all like some sci-fi, and we all like new ideas. And I'm thinking vampire movie, okay, my wife likes those kind of movies. I like a horror movie-ish. Maybe it'll be a new angle, right? I like Michael B. Jordan or whatever his name is quite a bit. But, man, it just felt like a nightmare, that damn movie, Sinners. I mean, it was like different chapters here, and I don't know, man. It was just super disappointed, but I guess tip of the hat and congratulations to Josh Allen and his lovely bride.
Yeah, he wins in the offseason, not in the postseason.
Tom, that should be like the finisher right there. No more "this is the way." That would have just completely mic dropped the whole show right there. Ricky Flores, what's up, Ricky? Appreciate you weighing in, asking the question: was Hufanga on NFL Network today?
I didn't see him.
Are the Denver Broncos making the rounds over there on NFL Network? Well, you asked the question, Ricky. We gave you the platform. That question will be answered here by Broncos Country any minute because they are usually on it. I saw an interesting interview with Hufanga the other day. I forget where it was, but it was really about him telling his story. Actually, it was introductory press conference, first day of OTAs. Now that I think about it, that's where we first got our first glimpse at Hufanga a little bit. And I got to tell you this, Tom, I love his humility. I wasn't expecting this. I was expecting an NFL vet who's described as an animal at the safety position to come in and be like, I'm ready to whip some ass. I'm here to win. This is my town, my position. And he comes in, he's like, man, I'm ready to earn my spot. I'm ready to earn my keep. I know people realize I've been hurt. I'm here to show you I not only can I stay healthy, but I'm here to play, and I want to be a good teammate. What a breath of fresh air coming into the Broncos defensive room. And he was almost gushing all over himself over my guy, your guy, Dre Greenlaw. Apparently, he was locker mates with Dre Greenlaw in San Francisco. He's locker mates with him here in Denver. I think the Broncos got themselves a couple of good Niners here to the Mile High City.
Yeah, if Hufanga can stay healthy and on the field, he's gonna be an impact player. I mean, that's one thing that they were missing from PJ Locke. I thought PJ Locke was adequate, but this guy's gonna come in. He's not gonna miss tackles. He's not gonna, he's gonna create some turnovers. So he's a valuable addition. It's just, again, worrying about making sure he's on the field is his only weakness, I think. So I think it's a big signing. I like the Greenlaw signing better, but he's right behind there. He's definitely a great vet addition that's going to help this defense be even better.
I think he's a little bit more, I don't know. He's more instinctual, Hufanga, than PJ Locke, I think. I think that some of those things come a little bit more. I think PJ Locke is going to settle into a complementary role a little bit, a nickel dime. I think he'll do well there, just like Jaquan McMillan, right? I mean, you stick him on the cornerback position, and some reps of those he's going to win, and some he's going to lose. It's a real toss-up. And I know we first saw him out in training camp, and you're like, damn, who is that kid out there at corner that's just fighting like hell and impressing? And then on others, Jerry Jeudy, Cortland Sutton would just take him to school. So it's that interesting piece of identifying a defensive back and where you need them based on who else you have around you. I think you can afford to have a little bit more of a wild man, if you will, in Hufanga, a little bit more of an instinctual player. If you've got Jade Barrett and Pat Surtain on your perimeter, right? Then you can have a little bit more of a wild card there. Brandon Jones last year, Tom, I mean, we continue to give him his flowers. I did not see that coming. What a fantastic pickup by Sean Payton, George Payton, and Vance Joseph. That's a pretty solid defensive backfield. And Pat Surtain talked about it just last week. You can read about it over at milehighhuddle.com. He said about Jade Barrett, quote, he brings a lot of versatility towards the defense. He's smart, savvy, makes plays, and it's a big addition towards our team. I know he's going to make plays on this team, and he's catching up fast. So it's a great addition to this football team.
Absolutely. Yeah. I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do on Sundays. There's a lot of talk, and, sometimes it doesn't translate from the college to the pro game, but I'm excited to see what he can do. And I'm really looking forward to that first few opening games to see how well he does as a rookie. I mean, he's going to get tested. If he's out there, he's going to get tested. And I just want to see, how he responds to that. And obviously he'll get beat, but how does he come back from it? And what's his kind of mental makeup? And is he going to be one of those impact players, one of those ball hawks that hopefully can snag a few interceptions? That I'm interested, because I wasn't expecting that pick, but then when I think about it, it's like, okay, he was the best player available. They took him for a reason. Now let's see if he can actually, make do on that selection.
Yeah, you got to trust the process a little bit, and you got to trust those around you. And the Broncos felt that they put in the work. They felt that they were prepared, and they executed on a decision that they feel they didn't flinch on. So as long as the organization feels good about that, that's all you can ask for. Time will tell, and history will ultimately judge the Broncos 2025 NFL draft class. But the free agency is important as well, and Pat Surtain talked about that too. He said, quote, it's great additions to the team and towards our success, obviously, with Dre and Hufanga, those guys going to get after it. I mean, they've been in the Super Bowls before. They know how to win at a high level, so adding those guys to the team, it's just sharper on the horizon. I'm looking forward to it. So Pat seems fired up, man. I mean, this guy's fired up every year, but he's actually getting more pieces brought in so he can continue to do his thing, so he can continue to play well. And we're all just wondering, what does all this mean for Nick Bonito? There's a huge debate right now, Tom. I'm driving around the Mile High City the other day. I've got a lot on my plate, as you know, tons of errands. And I hear a debate going on, multiple radio stations here in Denver. Does Nick Bonito deserve to get paid now, or does he still have something to prove? I know this is something you and I are continually asking. When do the Broncos pay him? I guess the new question that Denver's asking in Broncos country, should the Broncos pay Nick Bonito?
Yeah, I talked about it actually, and I said he's done everything that they've asked him to do. When he came in, he was a raw development prospect with a lot of potential. He needed to get stronger. He did that. He needed to build his pass rush repertoire. He did that. Each year he's gotten better. He's done everything that he's needed to do, and it culminated in last year. It wasn't just a flash in the pan. You could see the steady progression of Nick Bonito. So the question is, do you want to pay him 20 to 25 now, or wait till the end of the season when he has 17 sacks and 4 forced fumbles and be paying him $30 million a year? That's the big question on my mind. I know that they've got a couple young guys behind him, but the most important aspect of a defense in today's game is sacking the quarterback. The numbers show it. You got to get to the quarterback. That's what he does. I know he's not as great against the run, but he's probably going to improve that area of his game, just like he's done everything else. Why not pay him now? Why this wait and see kind of attitude? I don't understand. He's earned it. He's done everything that they've said, and he's got more to give. It's not like he's an aging vet that you're going to throw money away. This guy's coming into his prime still. I would pay him now and be happy about it.
Interesting. Nick Bonito was also a candidate for NFL Defensive Player of the Year for a long time there, up until the end of the season. And, production and overall performance from the Broncos in general kind of fell off. So I don't put that on Nick Bonito, right? Nick Bonito's the reason the Buffalo Bills kicked their ass. No, but Nick was also a ghost against the Buffalo Bills, Tom.
Yep.
And I also ask you this. Does a contract extension for Nick Bonito right now, is that based on things that he's done already? Or is it based on what the expectations for him in the future are going to be? Because you're exactly right. He came in as a second-round pick. He got in the weight room for a couple of years, and he's been ascending into a borderline elite talent. Borderline for me. He's on the cusp. I mean, he is right there. But I just don't know how the Broncos see these contracts. Do you see it different on because he's a pass rusher? Do you see it different because you drafted him? Of course, he's homegrown, so to speak, here for Broncos country. And like you, Tom, if you can get ahead of some of these financial big deals, then the Broncos should go ahead and do it. Kind of like they did with Pat Surtain. Pat, we knew he deserved it. I mean, different positions, different calibers. I'm just not sure if paying for past performance from a second-round pick is the best way to go moving forward.
Well, that's what I always say. Free agency, you shouldn't pay someone for past performance. You pay for what you think their performance is going to be in the future. I think Nick Bonito's performance in the future is going to be as good or better than he was last year. He might have some down games, sure, but I think he's the number 2 priority behind Zach Allen, because I think the best is still yet to come from Bonito. He wasn't a flash in the pan. It wasn't like he had one game where he got 4 sacks and then, disappeared a bunch of times.
17 games, 13 and a half sacks, to your point, Tom.
Yep. And like I said, pass rush, getting after the quarterback is the number 1 priority. Why are you hemming and hawing about, this guy who has done everything you've asked? And he looks, this will be his 4th year. He's coming into his prime. He should have 3-4 good years ahead of him. Sign him to a contract, get it done. And then next year, when he has a even better year, you're going to look like a genius because you paid him ahead of time.
Would you be okay if the Broncos decided to wait and they just want to see one more year? I mean, I know it's not what you prefer, but it would cost the Broncos money, obviously. Yeah. Do you think it would cost them the opportunity to re-sign Nick Bonito? I guess what I'm asking you, Tom, is it going to piss Nick Bonito's camp off if he doesn't get the extension now, this summer?
It might make him mad, but the problem is you're going to go into the season, and you're going to go into free agency wanting to pay him, and he's going to wait and see what some other team's going to offer. That's the problem. You let it go, you wait and see for the rest of the year, and then then free agent comes around and someone overpays for him. And I mean, you can overpay even if he has a great year. You can still pay way more for him. And I know that I like Jonah Ellis. I think that's an option behind him. But you just paid Jonathan Cooper, and Nick Bonito to me is a more dynamic player than Jonathan Cooper. So you paid Jonathan Cooper, but you're not willing to pay Nick Bonito just because maybe he's not as stout against the run. But again,
Jonathan Cooper, 6th round pick versus 2nd round pick. That money's that's a whole lot different. I mean, come on. I see what you're saying there, like the priority wise, but like you couldn't, you being the Broncos, George and Sean Payton couldn't pay Quinn Miners, Pat Surtain, and Nick Bonito last year. You couldn't do it. Sure. So what do? You go to the next best thing in Jonathan Cooper, who had a great season in his own right. And I think Cooper and Bonito were competing with each other all season. I think they elevated each other's game, and iron sharpens iron. Remember that phrase, Broncos country? It's been a while since we heard about that. Keith, what's up, Keith? Good friend of the show. As we start to wrap things up, Thomas and Luke, what are your statistical predictions for Evan Ingram for the regular season? Is he a 3rd down target or big play threat? Yes and yes to the last 2, 3rd down target and big play threat, because Sean Payton says he is. He's the guy that Sean just couldn't live without. We all know who Sean had to have, and it was Evan Ingram. I don't know about statistical prediction yet, Keith. I'll have to dive into it because this is another cat who needs to stay healthy, right? We're talking about all these questionable players, and that's the NFL, right? Everybody's hurt, and if you haven't been hurt yet, just wait a second. You will be. Here's my problem with Evan Ingram. Is he seriously wearing the number 1 jersey, guys? Fellas? Is that what we're doing out here? Wow. You're going to wear the number 1 jersey here in Denver, Colorado at the tight end position. you had damn well better be the second leading touchdown receptions player on this football team. Yeah, I mean, seriously, this man, they didn't sign him for a song per se, but they didn't break the bank on him either. What kind of season do you think Evan Ingram's going to have, and what would you be comfortable with saying was productive?
If he stays healthy, he's going to have 65 catches, 700 yards, and 5 TDs. That's going to be his season.
5 touchdowns isn't enough for me, Tom. I need 8. I need 8. I'm serious. 8? I need 8. You're wearing the number 1 jersey. I almost started cursing.
His prime is kind of behind him. So I'm not looking for him to, he had 100 catches. I mean, he had that big year. I don't see it's going to be that, but he's going to be productive. And that's a pretty solid season for a tight end, especially at his age. I would be happy with that. If it's more than that, then awesome. But I just don't see him. I mean, there's a lot of other receivers to get the ball to. You got Cortland Sutton, you got Vele, who seems to be, really impressing. You got Mims, who's still ascending. You're going to be able to spread that ball around a little bit. I don't think he's going to have a massive statistical year because he's not going to be the guy that they're always targeting, but he's going to have a very decent tight end year. And that's why I'm saying around 65 and 700 yards.
Now, Tom, you mentioned the word prime, and Tyler's ears must be ringing. Go Broncos, we coming, as Coach Prime would say here in Colorado, the land of Broncos country. Yeah, Shador just go on the way out. It's everybody falling over themselves with more training camp videos, and I'm happy for Shador. And my good buddy Ben covers the Buffs, and he's been writing up Shador, and I've been reading his work. Another SI guy, but it's just we got to pump the brakes here just a little bit. I can't wait for football, Tom. We are right around the corner here. And away we go. We're rocking and rolling. Can't wait to chop it up with you again next Wednesday night. Guys, head on over to the mothership at milehighhuddle.com. You can read all about the latest news out of the report, really, coming out of Denver, Colorado from Tom Pelissero. J.K. Dobbins is being courted by your Denver Broncos. They're whining and dining him as we speak. He will be out there tomorrow at Broncos HQ. I'm going to call it now. I think Chad and Zach are talking about J.K. Dobbins signing with the Broncos tomorrow night at 6 p.m. Mountain. I think that news will be here, and you will be able to react to it, Broncos country. If you'd like to reach out to Tom on X, please do so at Thomas Hall NFL. Yours truly at Luke Patterson LP. Don't forget to reach out to Scott at Scout Kennedy, and give this pod a follow as well. That's at MHI_pod. We got to beef those numbers up. Tom, Scott, another fun show. Thank you, boys.
Yeah, thank you. And thank you to all the people in the chat. It was good. I mean, this is one of those times of the year where, people aren't really thinking too much about football. So thanks for being here and keeping the chat lively and giving us some stuff to talk about. Appreciate it.
Hell yeah. Broncos country's always thinking about football, and that's why we are always rocking with you here at MHH. Broncos country, will we have a new running back by tomorrow? Into the steakhouse. This is the way.
This is the way.